Your time has been wasted enough, bestie, so I'm gonna rip the band-aid off. The reason why most creators don't build lasting digital empires, let alone a following who cares, has nothing to do with the algorithm changing every 5 seconds. It don't got nothing to do with whatever dumb angle you're obsessing over or pea-brain viral strategy you're trying this week, and then also getting into Flop City with this week as well. Did you just kiss me? Oh my goodness, the freak, he's so cute. It's because your content doesn't scratch the right itch, and when it doesn't itch, people don't click, they don't save, they don't follow, they not feeling you. They scroll. This video is about the psychological blueprint behind content that moves culture and builds cults online. We are going way beyond hooks and trending audios, bestie. This is creator psychology, the stuff that's been working since before your grandmama was born. And by the end of this, you won't just understand what makes content go viral, but how to become a creator that is irresistible, which is wonderful for you, your brand, and your business. Most videos about content strategy are boring as hell. Post consistently, use trending audio, engage with your audience. Okay, wow, thank you. That is so revolutionary. Not to toot my own horn, queen, but I am tooting up this because what I'm about to show you isn't just a content tip. It's the invisible architecture running behind every brand, the creator economy, and every digital empire that you've ever admired. And it starts with a man. I know, a man who got millions of women to start smoking cigarettes by telling them it was feminist. A man named Edward Bernays. He was Sigmund Freud's nephew. Yes, that Freud. Nasty Freud. Something wrong with us, Freud. And he took his uncle's theories for the unconscious mind and turned it into a weapon for selling things without him ever being a salesman. He is the reason you eat bacon for breakfast, the reason you save money for a rainy day, the reason every Apple and Nike ad makes you feel like a rebel instead of a consumer. He didn't call what he did advertising, he called it propaganda, and that's what it was. And once you understand how he did it, you will see it everywhere. Here's what you need to understand about Bernays. He never sold a single thing in his entire career. What he was selling was identity, feeling. What he was selling was the answer to the question that every human being walks around asking, even without knowing that they're walking around asking it. Who am I, and do I belong? And when he figured out how to answer that question with a product, it wasn't a sale anymore. It was a conversion. So let me tell you the most important thing that you will learn about content today, the story of the cigarette campaign. Picture this, bestie. It's 1929. The American Tobacco Company has a problem. America, we have a problem. Big Tobacco's like panicking and they're like, OMG, women aren't smoking in public because it's unladylike and it's shameful. Half the population, zero of the market, so they hire Bernays. Here come Mr. B. Now here's what a normal marketer would do. Run an ad, shoot a woman smoking and call her a pretty lady, maybe even put it in a magazine. They might even focus on words like elegance and femininity when it comes to smoking, right? But Bernays didn't run an ad. Girl, he called a psychoanalyst, a Freudian scholar named Dr. Abram Brill, and he asked one question: what does a cigarette mean to a woman psychologically? And Brill told him cigarettes are symbols of masculine power. They're torches. They represent freedom, equality. You gotta remember, in 1929, women were just coming out of the suffragist movement. So these are things that women desperately wanted, but couldn't have socially at the time. He got a list of fashionable debutantes from New York's editor Vogue, right? And then he had his assistant send them a telegram. No mention of him, no mention of the tobacco company. And let me tell you what the this said. Read, in the interest of the equality of the sexes, I and other young women will light another torch of freedom by smoking cigarettes while strolling on Fifth Avenue on Easter Sunday. He pre-tipped the journalist, he planted the photographers, and on March 31st, 1929, 10 women lit cigarettes on the streets of Fifth Avenue during the Easter parade. The New York Times headline the next day, group of girls puff cigarettes as a gesture of freedom. They did it. It ran on in newspapers across the country. Cigarette sales skyrocketed. Nobody ever mentioned Bernays. Nobody ever mentioned the tobacco company. He didn't sell a cigarette. He sold an identity. He sold the feeling of being a part of a movement. He made a purchase feel like a personal declaration of independence at a critical moment in women's rights. The women who bought them weren't just buying a smoke, they were buying a version of themselves who they wanted to become. Does that sound familiar? Because that is exactly what every high converting creator is doing right now. Not selling a product, but selling a version of yourself, selling the feeling of becoming. And the creators who understand this, they do not chase viral. Viral chases them. Clock that T, okay? Now here's where I want to hand you something that you can actually use, because Bernays was operating off of psychoanalysis and instinct in the 1920s, but we now have behavioral science, decades of it, that explains exactly why what he did had worked so well. So bestie, together we are going to digest his method, and it all comes down to what I call the 5 brain itches. And these are not just views, these aren't just tactics, these are 5 fundamental psychological needs that every human being is walking around with. And if your content satisfies even one of them, you don't just get a view, you create a response. The first human itch is relatedness. So the deep human need to look around where you are in your life and say, oh my gosh, I'm not alone, I belong somewhere. We have a desire to belong to something. This is why if you know content performs so well. This is why you can post an amazing viral video on TikTok and the hook started with, this is for the girl who's been building in silence. This is why stuff like that gets saved by 40,000 women who have never met each other, but in that moment feel seen. And they're commenting, oh my goodness, nobody has ever said this the way that you have. Thank you so much. And they're like telling their life story. And then there's 30 other comment replies of people relating. People want to not see you as a creator, but to see you as a mirror. And you can actually manufacture this ethically by naming your person specifically, not for entrepreneurs, not for women, but for a specific woman. This is for the entrepreneur who's been running her business on caffeine and confusion and still somehow closing clients. When you're that specific, the right person who you want to be speaking to feels personally found. And when you feel personally found, you don't scroll away. The second itch is so important because a lot of people get on here and they be trying to preach to people from a pedestal. It's competence. The feeling of being smart, of walking away knowing more than you did before, of being handed a tool that you can literally use today. You need to make people feel smarter. This is the save-worthy itch. This is the here's what nobody tells you about X content, and why that outperforms a perfectly polished tutorial every single time. Because it doesn't just inform, it makes your viewer feel smarter for having found you. You gave them a win, and the brain doesn't forget the person who gave them a win. The third itch is autonomy. They need to feel like they have a voice, a choice, and a piece of the mic. This is why opinion content performs, why hot take videos spread, why stitch this if you agree turns your viewers into co-creators instead of just passive consumers and doom scrollers. Bernays understood this deeply. He did not tell women to smoke. He told them smoking was their idea. He staged the Torches of Freedom campaign not as a brand event, but as a women's protest. He gave people ownership over the idea. They didn't feel marketed to. They felt like they were a part of a movement that they chose to join. Your unpopular opinion post is the same move. You're creating an invitation, not instruction. An invitation, especially for transformation, and we'll get to this in a second, spreads. Okay, bestie? Instruction, on the other hand, is what leads to the scroll, because we can just Google that. We can just put that in the chat, into Claude, into Perplexity, into Minutes, into all the different AIs, right? The fourth itch is esteem. They need to be seen, celebrated, validated. Dopamine is a real thing. And your comment section is a dopamine delivery system. The creators who understand this ain't just wasting their time posting random content, hoping it sticks, wondering why things don't work, convert, click consistently. They make their audience the heroes, shout outs, wins. You're doing better than you think posts, transformation call outs. When someone feels powerful in your presence, they come back. Not because you're so impressive, although you are the shit, but because they feel so impressive because of you, around you. That is the difference between a following and a literal digital community where they're loving you and they're treating you like their cult leader. And then there's the fifth itch, the deepest one, self-identity. The question every human being is quietly asking with every piece of content that they consume. Does this reflect who I am? Or better, does this reflect who I am becoming? This is where Bernays becomes a real-time phenomenon, because this is what the best creators are doing, right? They're not just posting simple videos, but holding up mirrors. And they say the most genius thing. This is where you already are. This is who you're becoming. I know because I've been there. Here's the path. When you make content from this place, your content is someone else's origin story in real time. That's the whole job. Now let me show you how these itches get stacked into something that spreads. Because here's the thing, Bernays didn't operate in isolation, and neither do the viral creators who you're watching right now. What they're doing, consciously or not, is stacking psychological triggers. I call these the 6 psychological triggers, and when you understand them, you will start to see them everywhere. Here they are as they live in the wild. Belonging is the foundation, right? That's content that makes somebody feel like they're already a part of the tribe. And then identity is the mirror. Content that reflects back who someone wants to be. Pain recognition is the match. Content that names the specific frustration that someone's been carrying alone. Desire projection is the pool. This is content that makes someone feel the life on the other side before they've even bought a thing. Authority is the reason to trust you. That's your credentials, your results, your earned wisdom. And social proof is the evidence that others have already taken the lead. Now here's the thing, you don't need all 6 in one video. You need 2 or 3 stacked clean, right? You're not lazy, you're just exhausted by a system that's not built for you. That's identity plus pain recognition, right? 2 triggers. It's simple, incredibly shareable, because someone hears that and thinks, oh my goodness, they finally said it. Thank God someone finally said it. This method helped 40,000 creators grow without burning out. That is authority plus social proof. Again, 2 triggers, not 6, just 2 things working together hard enough to move someone. Think of every post like a little psychology cocktail, right? You're not trying to hit every note. You're trying to hit the right ones hard enough so they feel something. And feeling is what makes people stop. Feeling is what makes people share. And sharing is what makes you a movement instead of a channel. Now I want to spend a minute here, because this is the part that most creators up, and it's the part that separates creators who post from creators who build. The most magnetic creators in history, I'm talking Oprah, Emma Chamberlain, Edward Bernays, right? Every cult brand you've ever loved, they weren't just producing content. They were building an identity ecosystem. Every single piece of content dripped with who they were, their world view, and get this, their specific way of seeing the thing that their audience was already looking at. This is what I call my identity first creator framework, and it runs on 5 things. The first one is your voice, not your content voice when you're ready to perform, but the one that comes out when you're passionate and a little irritated and you're ready to talk about something unfiltered that's been bothering you. And the algorithms change, platforms die, but that voice is distinct enough to outlast any platform shift. Now the second is your flag. Every magnetic creator gives their audience something to rally around and something to push against. The common enemy, the old way, the broken system. For you, it's whatever your audience is exhausted by, sold out by. Name it, make it specific. The third is shared language, right? Your community needs a vocabulary that belongs to them. Names for frameworks, names for whole patterns, phrases that become shorthand for whole feelings. When your follower drops one of your phrases in a totally unrelated conversation and another follower recognizes it and now they're besties, that's a cult brand moment. That is the belonging happening in the wild without you even having to be in the room. And that is how you know you're building movements, not just chasing clicks. The fourth is positioning yourself as both the mirror and the map. The mirror says, I see you, I was you. The map says, I know how to get you where you want to go because I've done it. You need both. If it's just the mirror, you're relatable but not compelling. And if it's just the map, you're authoritative but nobody knows why they should trust you or even listen to you. And fifth is creating "this is so me" moments every single week. I call this brain wet content. Content that stops people mid-scroll because it feels like something out of their own brain and it's turning them on that you know that. The goal is not to go viral. The goal is to make your specific person feel found. And this is all in the hook to aim the attention, not just to get attention, right? You want the right attention. Okay, let's make this concrete because I know some of you are thinking, oh my goodness, Jada, this is beautiful, but what do I actually do? Here's the system: 7 steps, not 7 things to stress about simultaneously, but 7 things in sequence. Let's get it, let's go. Step 1, you're going to define your one person, not an audience, one woman or man. The specific version of her, what she's exhausted by, what she's excited by, what she wants so badly she can taste it, what she believes so deeply she can do but is afraid and she just needs someone to confirm. The more specific you get, the bigger the audience you attract. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. Just trust me. Step 2, you're gonna pick 2 or 3 of the 5 brain itches that you're scratching in this piece of content. Pick your target. Is it relatedness? Is it competence? Is it identity? 2 of those working together. 3, choose your structure. Either you're going problem to solution, you're going to name the pain, flip it, give a win, or you're going story arc, where the point of the piece unfolds through the narrative, right? The story arc converts harder for high ticket, whereas the problem solution converts harder for lead generation. So just know what you're building before you record anything. Step 4, you're going to layer in the viral triggers, 2 or 3 of the 6, same thing, stacked intentionally. Don't reach for all of them, reach for the right 2. Step 5, you're gonna write 3 different hooks for the same concept. The hook is not the video, the hook is the door. So you're just going to write 3 different doors, 3 different entry points, and test which one the most people walk through. Step 6, you're going to post and observe emotionally, not just what got the most likes, but what made someone leave a comment like, "I feel personally attacked. I needed to hear this today," or "Yes, you're talking right to me." Emotional response is data. It tells you exactly where you live in somebody's psyche. Step 7, repeat what hit emotionally, not just what performed well, because a post can get 10,000, 100,000 views and get 0 DMs, 0 clicks. Nobody's buying anything. Just like on the flip side, a post can get 2,000 views and bring you 3 high ticket clients. That puts you at 6 figures monthly. The difference is resonance. Chase resonance. And I know we've been trained like heck on this dopamine stuff and we just want the numbers, we just want them to click. Virality follows resonance. But here's what I want to leave you with. Bernays died in 1995. He was 103 years old, and in those 103 years, he watched the world go from word of mouth to print to radio to television, and he never had to change his method once. Because the method isn't about the platform, it's about the person. People have always wanted to feel like they belong to something. They've always wanted to feel like they're becoming someone better. They've always wanted to feel seen before being sold to. This was true in 1929. It was true when Instagram launched, when TikTok launched. It's true right now when you're watching this. So before your next post, before you stress about your next hook, before you open your notes app and ask yourself, oh my goodness, what should I even make today? I want you to do me a favor and ask yourself one question instead that will change everything for you when it comes to this content game. What itch am I scratching? And if this video scratched yours, subscribe, you know, like, cause this is an I scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of thing, bestie. And we are just getting started. And welcome to the Viral Besties Club.